I hope you felt welcome this evening as you came into the chambers by Stephen Licklider, our airport manager, and Brian Rodemaker, our economic development director. They were both our greeters tonight. This is the June 4th, 2019 regular City Commission meeting for the City of Ormond Beach. It is 7 p.m. and we are in the Commission chambers. I'd like to introduce the folks who are sitting up in front of you. To my right, your left, is Shay Moss, our recording secretary. City Clerk is Colby Salento. Commissioner Dwight Selby from Zone 1. Our Deputy Mayor and Zone 2 Commissioner Troy Kent. To my left and your right, Commissioner Susan Persis from Zone 3. Commissioner Rob Littleton from Zone 4. Our City Manager, Joyce Shanahan. Our Assistant City Manager, Claire Whitley. City Attorney, Randy Hayes. And for those of you listening online, I'm Mayor Bill Partington. At this time, we'll have the invocation provided by Father Roy Allison at St. James Episcopal Church, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Let us pray. Almighty and Heavenly Father, we give you great thanks and praise for this gathering and for the many ways you bless this great city of Ormond Beach, and ask that you give wisdom, courage, and strength to our mayor, to our city commissioners, and to all in authority as they go about making important decisions on how to best serve your people. I thank you that we are able to come together in this place to share our ideas, hopes, and dreams for Ormond Beach, and also ask that as we go about doing the order of business, everyone who speaks would do so with care and respect for one another. May all that is said and done in this meeting be to your honor and glory, and may any and all decisions made here this day provide hope, offer opportunities for the growth of our city, ensure the resources we have are being used and offered in ways that are fair and just, and that through all this you are glorified, this day and always. Provide for our city, gracious Lord, and provide for your people, that we may always be mindful that all that we have is a gift from you, meant to be shared with one another. Thank you, dear Lord, for all of our blessings, and may you give us opportunities to be a blessing to one another. I pray in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Father. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looks a little different in here tonight. No podium for our speakers, but don't worry, that'll be back. It's a special night for Ormond Beach, and we were lucky enough to be honored. And I'm introducing Mark Sittig from the Florida League of Cities. Mark, come on up. Good to see you again. See you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It's an honor for me to be here. I'm Mark Sittig with the Florida League of Cities, and I used to live in Ormond Beach about 25 years ago out in a little area called Villages of Pine Run, and man, have y'all changed. Man, it's beautiful out here, and I love your facility here. It's all great. The reason I'm here tonight, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager Joyce Shanahan, who I've known since a long time ago. We've both been around for a long time, and she is a fantastic city manager, and I don't have to tell you that, as I know you know, but I am here to be with you this evening to present the coveted Florida Municipal Achievement Award in the Florida Citizenship category. The Florida Citizenship Award focuses on city projects or programs that build stronger, more participative residents. The program increases civic awareness, education, and knowledge, and promote active participation among residents. The City of Ormond Beach's OB Life project began when citizens perceived potentially threatening changes to the city's small-town feel. Throughout the year, the OB Life project introduced multiple community meetings in which residents could ask questions and participate in the changes that were happening in the city. The OB Life project is a remarkable example of increasing civic awareness and building stronger, more participative residents. The Florida Municipal Achievement Awards have recognized innovation and excellence in local government programs for nearly a decade. It is the highest award we give to Florida cities. Your nomination was excellent, and Ormond Beach's effort and civic awareness through this program are outstanding. I can tell you that there was close to 100 applicants for this award, and all of them were very good, but yours, led by the leadership of your city manager, stood out far and above all of the rest, and what you're doing here in this city is truly a testament that the other cities in Florida will look at and try to emulate. In addition to this award as a winner, Ormond Beach will be featured on the League's website, various social media outlets, and our League's Quality Cities magazine. Ormond Beach will also be recognized in a video at the League's annual conference. Now, on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, I'm honored to present you with the 2019 Municipal Achievement Award for Florida Citizenship. Mayor, congratulations.
Mark, thank you. For those of you that don't know, the Cittig family, Mark, Mike, their father, they built the Florida League of Cities, which is the best league in the nation, bigger even than the National League of Cities. And they built it in a way that helps Florida cities enable best practices and really protects the cities in the state of Florida, providing them educational opportunities, conference opportunities. It's really an amazing organization that your family's put together, and we appreciate that. Receiving this recognition means so much, and the Florida League is such a professional organization that they realize we need an independent company that specializes in reviewing applications. They reviewed all the applications, and out of those, Ormond Beach was selected. So thank you so much. We're all excited. I think everybody's going to comment in just a little bit, but we appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for recognition of our OB Life initiative. It was an opportunity for our city to go the extra mile, which this commission embraced and supported, in reaching out to our residents, garnering feedback, and we used it as recently as tonight in talking about what they said was important to them, taking that and making budget decisions in our capital improvement project. So it has real life impact, and we're very proud to have received this award and recognition. Thank you.
Anybody else like to say anything? Pass the mic. Mayor, I would be remiss also if I didn't mention the fact, I know we're here for this award tonight, but you have also received an award from the League, being a hometown hero, for representing your community in Tallahassee at the state legislature. If it wasn't for voices like you and yourself, those guys wouldn't pay a lot of attention to the needs of the cities of Florida, and so thank you for that, and you'll be receiving that as well if you haven't already. Thank you.
And next, I like having the room to work up here. We're going to have to maybe make this a thing, Joyce. If I could get the leadership class, all of you guys, to come up. Debbie, Billy, you guys should come up too. This class is one of the best ever, and we say that every year, but these last few years, these leadership classes have really stepped up and done some amazing things in our community. And when I heard what they did as their class project this year, I wanted to make sure we recognize them. And so I'm proud they're here. Thank you all for coming out. And I want to present you with this proclamation, which, whereas the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce's leadership program offers civic-minded individuals the chance to discover how they can become involved with ongoing opportunities within the Ormond Beach community. The program strives to help participants develop networking opportunities, establish relationships with fellow program graduates, and promote community leadership and involvement with the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce. And whereas the leadership program historically cultivates informed citizens and leaders who go on to become actively engaged in their community through their positive actions, each class that goes through the leadership program selects a project to complete prior to graduation. Whereas the 2019 class, known as Leadership Class 16, learned that local elementary and middle schools had negative school lunch balances totaling $5,200 over a 6-month period. This leadership class felt passionately that no child should be denied a hot lunch and decided to support Volusia County Schools' Angel Funds for their class project. Angel Funds collects donations from community members to help students with their negative lunch account balances. And whereas the class chose their project because they feel the children are our future, Ormond Beach leadership wanted to take care of local children's needs, noting that in some circumstances, a school lunch may be the most nutritious meal of the day for a student, and that children who can't afford a lunch may encounter social consequences from their peers. And whereas within 3 days, the leadership class had already raised $5,000 through their Facebook page for Angel Funds, the class set a goal to raise $10,000 to address negative school lunch balances, and by the time of their May 23rd graduation, they had collected $12,478 and delivered those funds to all 5 Ormond Beach elementary schools and both Ormond Beach middle schools. The 2019 class is leaving a lasting legacy of generosity and compassion with their community service project. And now, therefore, I, Bill Partington, Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, on behalf of this entire commission, do hereby proclaim today, June 4th, as a day to recognize Ormond Beach Leadership Class 16 in the City of Ormond Beach, and urge all residents to join with me on this day in acknowledging their accomplishments. Congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to say, my name's Debbie Cotton. I'm the president and CEO of the Ormond Beach Chamber. I'm truly blessed to have such passionate individuals in our city that are passionate about the chamber and our community and our future leaders. So my hat's off to them. They picked their leaders and they chose the project and they did not stop. I will tell you, they really went for it and they made a difference and they completed it within their timeline that they were given, and it was only a 6-8 week period, I think. So I don't know, Kristen, you want to say something really quickly? I know we don't have much time. No, okay, all right, but congratulations to the class. They did all the work.
Last but not least, if I could have Robert Carolyn and anyone else he wants to come up from Parks and Recreation. Do you want me to read this whole thing? I will. Our Parks and Recreation Department, which is really, we call it Leisure Services, does an amazing job in the city of Ormond Beach. So I'm really proud to recognize them for Parks and Recreation Month. Just last week alone, I lost track of all the events. We had the Memorial Day Remembrance that they support. We had the Ike Leary Pier dedication, which basically they put on. We had the Fred Costello Amphitheater dedication that they put on. And then the Commissioner Rick Bohm softball field dedication. And that's just 1 week on top of all the other programs that they always do. It's just an amazing job that Robert does with his staff and providing an incredible amount of support to the city. And so whereas Parks and Recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Ormond Beach, whereas our parks and recreation areas are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas Parks and Rec programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled. We have an item on that tonight. Also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens and are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas Parks and Rec programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, now, therefore, I, Bill Partington, do hereby proclaim Parks and Rec Month in the city of Ormond Beach and urge all residents to join in recognizing the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. You didn't even know you did all that, did you? All right, at this time we will move to audience remarks, and we will start with Alan Burton.
Mr. Mayor, City Commission, my name is Alan Burton, 915 Ocean Shore Boulevard. Last month I came here as a member of the Kiwanis Club of Ormond Beach. Tonight I'm coming as a trustee for the Florida Kiwanis Foundation. We had a proclamation last month for the Summer Reading Challenge, and that was possible through a $10,000 donation from Ann Council. that was matched by another $10,000 contribution by the Florida Kiwanis Foundation, which brought it to 20, 2 times 10. And then, because it got to that size, Scholastic also was able to add another $7,500 for the summer reading program for the kids. And don't tell them it's really a leisure services recreation program, reading through the summer, of course. But the idea there is that there was a synergy of different groups coming in. They provided some money, we provided some money, Scholastic came and provided some money, and there was other contributions. So that synergy provided a lot, but that wasn't all there was. The city council, the mayor, and the city commission visited their launch date, and 350 kids, I'm not going to address the audience, but all that area in there, they would have to have twice as many seats, because that's how many kids that were involved and positively impacted by your presence at the audience at the beginning. So, on behalf of all the children and the Kiwanis and our foundation, I'd really like to say thank you for being a part of that and adding to that, because without you being there, I know Clifford was there, but actually the buzz afterwards was that the kids were going, wow, the mayor and the city commission were here. And I'm telling you, they felt really special. And hopefully, like Darth Vader would say, they would find new ways to motivate them. But hopefully that did. Now that they have 4 of their own books, they've initiated their own personal library, because you helped, and you helped synergize that whole day and that whole effort. So I just, on behalf of all the kids at school, the Volusia County School, the teachers, the principal, the students, really like to thank you for being a part of that, and that your presence there meant a lot to the kids. And make no mistake, you might be up there on the stage kind of, doing your thing, but it really does mean a lot. And I just wanted to really thank you on behalf of them. And although I have given some of these to Mr. Parks and Recreation Month off to the side for the day camp, but these are backpacks, so I'm going to give them to you, Mr. Mayor, as a thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
And please distribute them, as some might need to.
We'll do it. Thank you.
But so thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Bonda Garrison. Thanks, Alan.
My name is Bonda Garrison, and I reside at 365 Notting Hill Street. I'm the current president of the Ormond Beach Historical Society. We've just attended the Capital Improvement Program workshop. Needless to say, we're extremely disappointed that the city has decided again to defer the critically necessary maintenance of the exterior of the 1903 McDonald House. The Historical Society, the city's landmark preservation and quality of life boards, as well as numerous citizens, have been advocating for the maintenance and the preservation of the McDonald House since 2007, when the estimated cost, by the way, was $234,000. 2007, that is 12 years. During that time, the Historical Society has continually advocated for the city to do the necessary exterior maintenance to ensure the building's continual survival. And, Commissioner Littleton, several years ago we started a fund and raised $70,000 in a very short time to save the McDonald House, which we stopped because the city was doing a study on what the actual costs were going to be. We're committed to raising the money to fund the interior and make it a museum of Ormond Beach history, creating a museum row between the Art Museum, the casements, the cupola, and the McDonald House. Raising those funds would be no small task for an organization of our size, and doing so without a firm commitment from the city to restore the building would be short-sighted on our part. We've continually urged the city to apply for grants to cover the cost of the work, or to help cover the costs. We've even pointed out that you are in violation of your own demolition by neglect ordinance. Studies have been done, exploratory work has been done, but no action has been taken. a recent study done by Ormond Main Street, as well as work being done by the Downtown Steering Committee, all point to the Ormond's history and charm as being draw for the people to visit here and live here. McDonald House is an important part of that history. It's one of the last structures that we can save to showcase our wonderful history. We stand ready to do our part to turn it into a museum of Ormond Beach history. 12 years is long enough. We urge you to allocate funds in the 2019 to 20 capital improvement plan to begin the work to save the McDonald House. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Bonda. And we'll be back to the capital improvement workshop. Thank you, Dwight. Commissioner Selby. We had to take a break just because we were running late on time, but we're getting through a lot of it tonight. Last but not least is Jim Schultz.
Jim Schultz, 117 Harvard Drive. I forgot my banner. I didn't know that was a required speaking thing, but I'll give it a shot anyways. Yeah. Right now, the University of Florida is having a mumps outbreak. I thought I'd bring this in. They got 12 cases of mumps. Mumps was one of those things that was supposed to be, the MMR was supposed to get rid of it. Well, guess what? There's 2 whistleblowers that are suing the Merck because they got fired because they were being required to fake the data because it had a very low performance rate. And under the law, it has to be 95% effective. It's lucky if it's 60% effective. So, and a Navy ship was quarantined with the mumps also because they had people with the mumps. But when you're older and you get the mumps, it's not like when you're 5 years old. You can have permanent issues with your testes, permanent issues with your ovaries. You can have deafness. Those things don't happen when you're little. So what they've done is they've transferred it to a different thing. Anyways, pertussis. Right now, I saw that thing on TV where the health department publishes grandma is a big bad wolf. What they're not mentioning is the pertussis vaccine has been shown to be incredibly ineffective. If you want to go to Children's Defense Network, they have a list of different studies that prove really ugly things about the pertussis vaccine. Number one, it pretty much has a failure rate within 5 years in not being effective. Number two, it increases, if you get the vaccine, you're at, one study showed 15 times more likely to get pertussis. That's not good than an unvaccinated one. They had a school with 1,600 kids. Only vaccinated kids got it. The unvaccinated kids didn't get it. Go think about it. And then also asymptomatic. In other words, people that get the pertussis shot can be asymptomatic and be spreading it to everybody. And the bad thing about that, and it's really bad, is it's a more aggressive version that they thought was eliminated, but that's the one that they're spreading. Oh, because vaccines try to alter bacteria and viruses, but guess what? They fight back over time. And if you want to go to that same site, Dr. Peter Albee shows great detail how pertussis how the DTP has killed hundreds of thousands in third world countries.
Thank you, Jim. That brings us to item 6, the approval of the minutes. These are the minutes from the May 21st, 2019 regular City Commission meeting, and they've been sent to the Commission for review, also posted to the city's website. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We'll show those approved unanimously. And that brings us to the consent agenda. The action proposed on the consent agenda is stated for each item. Unless a city commissioner removes an item, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda?
I'll move the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Colby, please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And anyone wish to make any comments on consent agenda items? Nope. We'll move to item 8, public hearings, and I will open the public hearings. Start with 8A.
Ordinance number 2019-16, an ordinance approving the final plat for the Security First at Ormond Crossing subdivision, a planned mixed-use development, establishing conditions and expiration date of approval, and setting forth an effective date. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2019-16, read by title only. Actually, it's the second reading. Apologies.
Thank you, Colby. I don't have any cards on 8A.
I move for approval, Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And 8B, if you would, Colby, please read by title only.
Ordinance number 2019-17, an ordinance authorizing the execution and issuance of a Fourth Amendment to the amended final order for the Hunters Ridge Development of Regional Impact Master Development Plan Development Order to change the existing land use designation of one parcel of real property located at 2575 West Granada Boulevard, Volusia County parcel number 4128-00-00-0025, from public institutional to single-family residential, ratifying and confirming all prior approvals, providing for recordation, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2019-17, read by title only.
Thank you. Again, I don't have any cards.
Move approval of 2019-17.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And I will close the public hearings. We'll move to item 9, resolutions. And if you would, please read 9A.
Resolution number 2019-114, a resolution affirming the certification of the Volusia County Canvassing Board regarding the results of the municipal referendum election conducted by mail ballot in the city of Ormond Beach, Florida, on Tuesday, May 21st, 2019, declaring the results of said election and setting forth an effective date. This is resolution number 2019-114, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards for 9A.
I move for approval, Mayor.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And we move to staff action items. 10A, which would be Florida League of Cities voting delegate. I believe that's the annual meeting.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. You have to designate someone to vote at the League of Cities annual meeting. In the past, if the mayor attends the meeting, that has been the designation.
I would like to recommend that we make Mayor Bill Partington our voting delegate for the city of Ormond Beach.
Second. Any other discussion? Anyone want to jump in there? All right. Madam Clerk, if you would, please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And that brings us to discussion items. 11A, the LPGA sub-area study presentation. And I would ask our planning director, Stephen Spraker, to give us a brief introduction and speak on this item.
Good evening, Steve Spraker, Planning Director. Volusia County contracted with VHB Consultants to do a sub-area study of the LPGA Boulevard area. It includes portions of Ormond Beach from basically Granada Boulevard south. With us tonight is VHB, who did the study, and they are going to run through a presentation and answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and welcome.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you very much for having me this evening. My name is Kakwan Ma with VHB in Orlando. I've worked with the county for the past several months on the LPGA sub-area study, and we've had the privilege of also working with our city partners, Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach and Holly Hill on this. This presentation was given at County Council on April 16th, so we would like to present that to you today. We'll go through the purpose first. So why are we here? Why are we discussing this? I think it's pretty clear if you take a look at newspaper articles from just even the past 9 months, which you see here. Congestion and traffic and development are increasing, and it's causing a lot of issues and concerns around the Lpga interchange, even affecting all of the cities that I had mentioned before. I want to show you our study area, which includes about 35 square miles. It extends from State Road 40 to the north, US 92 to the south, Nova Road to the east, and Lpga Boulevard and Tournament Drive, or a proposed extension of Tournament Drive on the west. All right. With respect to existing conditions, we want to make sure that we do, as we look to the future, we do include all of the approved projects that have occurred in this area. The list of those projects are here, so those become our vested trips that should be included when we do any of our analysis. As we center on the interchange, you can see many of those developments are proposed around that interchange area. And as we go to our future scenarios, one thing that I do want to make sure that I convey properly is whenever I talk about being near capacity or over capacity being between 80 and 100% of the adopted capacity of the road, over capacity, of course, being over the 100%. All right, so as we take a look at existing conditions, the map on the left shows that we have, and this is using the county's most current traffic information. There are 2 roadway segments that are near capacity, and we have 1 segment of Hand Avenue that is over capacity. When we add all of the vested trips from those, the list of those projects that we had on the previous slide, we can see that we have a number of, let's see, near capacity, we have 5 segments, and over capacity are 11 segments, all centered on that interchange. So as part of our study, we look at a 2040 horizon year. That's the horizon year for the adopted model. And we want to make a comparison of what the existing plus the vested trips are on the left versus what the capacity concerns are for year 2040 that's shown on the right. The difference here being that the model does assume that as roads get congested within a certain area, traffic patterns change. With respect to the map on the left, all we're doing is overlaying each of the approved projects' vested trips on there. So that's what the difference is.
Are you taking questions as we go, or do you want to wait?
I can.
Why don't you go through and then we
Okay. So there are several scenarios that we did look at for all under the 2040 horizon year. The first one I'm going to call the low-hanging fruit, and that includes improvements that we believe are feasible and will happen before 2040. So what you see there is the Timber Creek Road extension from Lpga up to 40, Hand Avenue widening, the section from Clyde Morris to Shangri-La, Lpga widening, and Dunn Avenue widening. I believe that's from Williamson to Fentress or Bill France. The bottom center, you can see what the estimated cost is for those improvements, but again, that's going to be spread over from present to year 2040. And on the right side shows the map of the near capacity, which are the orange segments, and over capacity segments, which are shown in red. As we move to the next scenario, which is a southern relief, this envisions an extension of Dunn Avenue from its existing terminus at Tomoka Farms Road to Lpga Boulevard, somewhere close to Father Lopez High School, as a two-lane road. The purpose of this improvement is to provide relief in congestion from US 92 and Lpga Boulevard. And again, on the right side, you can see the results of that, showing 7 segments that are still over capacity. The northern relief, which may be one that you would find most interesting, this envisions an extension of Hand Avenue from its existing terminus at Williamson over the interstate and Tomoka River, and connecting to the proposed Timber Creek Road extension. Cost estimate for this is about $113 million, with 4 segments that are still over capacity, and several I think there were 16 segments that are still at near capacity, between 80 and 100% of the roadway capacity. And then our final scenario is what we're calling the pie in the sky. This envisions everything. We're throwing the whole book at this. These are all the feasible improvements, and in addition, it includes a further extension of Hand Avenue continuing west from Timber Creek Road extension to a proposed extension of Tournament Drive from its current terminus, and heading north, connecting to State Road 40, Granada Boulevard. All right. So once we boil all that down, what I wanted to do is show you all the results. On the left side of the dash are the existing conditions, and on the right side are the 2040. What we show here on the bars, the orange, are the number of lane miles that are near capacity. The red are the roads that are over capacity, and then the dark red are the roads that are grossly over capacity, or more than 150% over the capacity. This graph shows, easiest to explain it as percentage of trips that are experiencing congestion. Okay, so if we take a look at our base condition using the county's 2017 traffic counts, we have less than 1% of all of the trips that are experiencing congestion today. If all we did was put on the vested trips, you can see that that jumps up to 14%. And as we go through each one of the scenarios, it ranges anywhere from about 4.5% to a little over 11% for the base of 2040 without any additional improvements. So this is a breakdown table showing each one of the individual improvements and the cost. And of course, if we did all of those, that's the pie in the sky, which is the $153 million or $154 million. And again, this is just a summary showing a comparison of each one of the costs for the different scenarios. So what I'd like to do with these last few minutes is just to go over what our next steps are. To date, we've done our presentation to the County Council on April 16th. We also provided the presentation to the CAC and TCC on May 21st. Last week we did our presentation in Holly Hill. This evening we're doing it here. And we have one we're trying to schedule with the City of Daytona. And then after that, we also have a public meeting that we would like to put on to make sure that we listen to the comments and questions that the public might have. Okay. And then after that, we've already submitted a draft of the study, but after the public meeting, we'll gather all of those comments and have a final report submitted to the county by July of this year. What I would like to do also is talk about a little bit about discussion points. We know what the results from the surtax were, and we think that there are other opportunities that not only the county but the city partners as well should consider. Currently, the way that the cycle works is we have land use that wants to come in, which generates travel and and demands roadway capacity, and that's a reactive cycle. What we'd like to do is provide a more proactive cycle where we anticipate where that land use is and forecast that travel in order to, and then accommodate the roadway capacity. And where we are in this study is in between the travel and the roadway capacity part of the cycle, and then it basically just keeps going around in a circle. The conventional way that development has occurred in this area is shown as an example right here, and what that does is all of the trips then come out onto the area arterials. Whereas if we take a look at traditional way of development where we have more interconnectivity, more gridded network, then all of the local streets, all of the local trips can happen between those uses without having to come out onto the arterial, or at least minimize the impact on the arterial. This is two roadway networks for two different cities. On the left side, as a comparison, we have Savannah, Georgia. On the right side is suburban Jacksonville, Florida. And then last couple slides, I want to leave you with basically a couple quotes or statements. The first one, the character of the transportation investment influences the quality of the built environment. And I'm going to repeat this as I show the second slide. The character of the transportation investment influences the quality of the built environment. You have two different built environments there, and both are dictated by that transportation investment. And then I'll leave you with one final quote. Trying to cure traffic congestion with more capacity is trying to cure obesity by loosening your belt.
Nicely said. Any
Thank
questions?
you very much.
Commissioner Selby.
Yeah, could you go back to that, I think it was the first slide where you said compare, it had an arrow to compare.
Okay. Comparison of the two maps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, right here?
Right
Yes,
there,
sir.
Yeah. So we still have a lot of segments failing, right?
We do. Yes, absolutely.
And was this was the all-in?
This is not all in. This is the existing plus the vested trips. So it takes the existing counts that we have and basically just overlays all the trips from the approved developments, and that's what's shown on the left. On the right is the adopted 2040 model, and we include what we believe are feasible improvements that will happen. We know as Minto develops, Timber Creek Road will connect to 40. With Buc-ee's coming in, we know that segments of Lpga will be widened to 6 lanes. So it includes that, and we plug in the socioeconomic data from the approved developments, and we put that into the model. And so the big difference here is that you could see that the congestion basically spreads out to different areas. And that's because the model understands that as you have congestion, it's going to change travel patterns.
So one of the things that we and I have been pushing for is the Hand Avenue extension, out to Timber Creek.
Sure.
Because it could go to Timber Creek right now, the existing Timber Creek, and with the assumption that would relieve congestion on 40, even before the extension of Timber Creek from Minto up to the existing Timber Creek was built.
Right.
Is that a valid assumption?
Yes, absolutely. What we showed is with the extension of Hand Avenue, most of the trips that want to head east from Minto trips would use Hand Avenue. It also provided relief for not only State Road 40, but to a lesser degree, certain segments of Lpga, notably from the interstate to Clyde Morris.
And then, okay, but before the northern section of, is it likely that the Hand Avenue extension could get built before Timber Creek is extended from, the current?
That would be more for the county to answer, but I don't believe that that would be the case. The extension of Timber Creek is driven by the development of Minto, of Latitudes, Margaritaville, that area, and they have a development order condition that says that as they continue to develop, they will extend that road.
And right now, they're no longer under contract for the northern portion, right?
That is correct. I believe Minto Parcel A is not happening.
That's the southern portion, and then
I'm sorry. So yeah, so B,
I think,
yeah.
Well, anyway, the second piece. Okay, and then you had a slide that showed the cost of the Hand Avenue extension. There we go. That's a way bigger number. Is there more in there than? And I thought, and maybe you said, did I hear $35 million for that Hand Avenue extension?
Let's see. Hang on.
Yeah.
If we go here, the Hand Avenue extension is about 39.5. So the slide that includes scenario 3 also includes several of the other improvements to get to the number that you saw there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that helps explain that. Okay, so so you know, some people say you build the road and then that generates the traffic.
It does.
You sort of okay.
No, it does. The last quote that I gave, I mean, it absolutely does. And we've seen that in study after study all across the nation. Anytime you build a road, anytime you widen it, you get that temporary relief, but then traffic just comes in to fill the extra space, and you're back to where you were. So we need to start thinking a little bit differently to make sure that the slide that showed the conventional versus traditional development, that where we can and where cities and counties can enact policies to have interconnectivity between the parcels, to have that network, to make sure that local trips can stay on the local roads as much as possible, as much as feasible.
So is Minto doing that? I mean, they are building a shopping center, a Publix anchored shopping center that's
and
inside
that is
their
needed,
gates, right?
Because what we showed in our model was that there is anything to the west of the interstate is largely residential. It is in dire need of commercial there. So having that Publix there is a great boon for that area. Okay, so that you're not going to clog that interchange, and everything to the east. You have a lot of multifamily, but it's mainly commercial there. You've got Tanger, you've got Buc-ee's coming in, you've got a lot of industrial coming in, office buildings. So there has to be a mix in there. Now, with respect to, are they doing the traditional type of development? To a certain extent, yes, but they are also up against a lot of environmental and topographical challenges. So as much as the city of Daytona Beach might request for them to make sure that there is that connectivity, make sure that they're not just going to build a glorified cul-de-sac that just connects to Lpga. They will have that connection up to 40. They will have, hopefully at some point in the future, we'll see an extension of Hand Avenue.
You don't see too many, residential developers that build the Savannah style. I mean, you don't see that. You don't see
right. We've seen Baldwin Park in Orlando, but those are few and far between.
And you don't see a lot of the other kind of residential development where the commercial is along the main corridor and the houses are behind it, and there's a grid pattern to get basically in the back door or the back way in. You don't see.
But what's funny is that if you take a look at this area, if you take a look at older parts of Daytona, older parts of Ormond, you do have that. If you think about where the Volusia Square Mall is, and if you look behind there, you have residential back there, and they can connect to the mall. The concern there is that is older commercial, and so that's why it's not as active as the Tanger Mall is, and some of these Tomoka Town Center are coming in.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Was it Oglethorpe that laid out Savannah?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question would be, how do you take a city like Ormond Beach with its existing transportation infrastructure and turn it into something like that? I mean, is that the kind of outside-the-box thinking that you're talking about?
It is outside-the-box thinking. It's revisiting your policy, your comprehensive plan, your land development codes, and taking a hard look and seeing how much investment does a city require of its developers to have in order to have a successful development here.
Okay. And then the next question I had, does your modeling take into account the residential that's planned by Minto or whoever west of 95 when it comes up with these conclusions? Or, I mean,
yes.
Did you factor that in?
So we did sit down with other stakeholders such as Consolidated Tomoka and their consultant to try to figure out, so the model is broken up into traffic analysis zones, and each traffic analysis zone you plug in socioeconomic data. How many homes are there, how much retail, how much industrial, how much office, and we plug that in. So we know all of those projects that were listed in the beginning of the presentation, those were plugged in, and we sat down with CTLC to figure out, okay, well, how about these empty tracks? What about parcel F up in the northeast? What's going to go, what possibly could go there, and try to come up with something that's reasonable. And also work with your city staff as well as the other cities' staff to take a look at the future land use map and see what might be reasonable.
Okay. And then my last question, and we'll see if anybody else has any follow-ups, but the scenario comparison page, was it 11AB or packet page 474 with the percentages? That was it.
Oh, was this it here?
Yep. So
yes,
if we do nothing by 2040, 11.5 times out of 100, I'm going to experience congestion when I go out. Is that what that's telling me, or is that a fair way to?
Kind of. I mean, if you go out and drive right now, I bet you everybody right here, if you go out at 5 o'clock or 5:30 and drive, you're going to say, I'm going to experience congestion, right? So it's not really saying that, but it's saying how much of my trip is congested, how many lane miles. It's taking a look at lane miles. So there are local roads that you travel on where you don't get congestion. Yes, you might hit a signal, but that's not really congestion. That's part of assigning right-of-way to the traffic. You might hit a stop sign. That's not really congestion. It's having a backup of traffic as a result of being near or over capacity.
And then final question, I apologize, I was supposed to be done, but one other thing just popped into my mind. The adaptive traffic management system that's supposed to be coming online for Granada, was that factored into this as well? Or since it hasn't happened?
It isn't, because when we look at the model that far in the future, we only look at the capacity of the roadway segments. We don't look at intersections, because with respect to intersections, it's too hard to look 20 years in the future to try to determine how that functions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Persis.
I just wanted to ask, when you did this study, or whoever did the study, did they do it at peak times or off times, or a variety of times?
It assumes the peak hour capacity. So the county grades its roads based on a peak hour two-way capacity, and that's what we did as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Selby.
I know your study area ended at Nova Road, I think, on the east.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this question, may answer itself, but did you at all look at a bridge over the Intercoastal Waterway on Lpga? Have you considered that, or is anybody talking about that?
That was not in the scope of this study. We did look at Lpga once it enters into Holly Hill. We did not see the level of congestion that we do within this area. This is the area that was identified as booming right now, and we wanted to make sure that the study did its best to stay ahead of that curve.
Mm-hmm. See, because, I mean, look, I mean, I'll just say it. The concern is there's a lot more growth going on in Daytona than there is in Ormond, you know, to our south and west of the interstate. And you get this choke point on Granada, on 40, where all those, I think if I lived in Minto, in Margaritaville, and I wanted to go to the beach, I'm not going to go south to ISB, because that's the, you know, I'm going to go north to Route 40, and I'm going to go over the beach right here. So we get the city of Ormond Beach, we get impacted by all this traffic down to the south and not west of us, but west of the interstate. And so one of the things that I've been pushing, I'm on the TPO, is the Hand Avenue extension to at least provide an alternative way to go east-west. But the reality is that has the same, what you just said, when you get to Nova Road, it's 2-lane, highly residential east of there. And so if you want to go all the way east to the ocean, you got to go north, and now you're back on Granada. So it provides a relief, but only for a couple of miles, basically, between Nova and Timber Creek. And I love the idea of going all the way out west and basically hooking up, you know, at the Hunter's Ridge or Airport Road would be ideal, I think, if we could get Hand Avenue to tee into 40 where Airport Road tees into 40. That would provide a really good circulation, but that depends on those developers that are under contract on those large tracts out there, you know, to even think about doing that.
What we did find, again, with the Hand Avenue extension was a relief on 40 around the interchange, which is, I think, a concentration of the congestion. So even if it does only provide that relief up to Nova Road or Clyde Morris, then I think that's going to be beneficial for the city of Ormond Beach as well.
So the bottom line is that basically, as long as the population continues to grow, which it will, and we expand the transportation system, what happens is people fill it up, and then when it gets overfull, then they find an alternative way to get wherever they're going, right?
Yes, that's correct. It's in my opinion, it's more difficult to try and build a lane of traffic for every man, woman, and child than it is to try to find more innovative ideas, or actually it's more traditional ideas to keep your local traffic local and have your commuter traffic on the arterials.
Right.
And have land development patterns where it's a mixed use, so that you're not having everyone who's residential here try to get to commercial here, but you have a mixture of that.
Very good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. Great job taking a huge topic and condensing it into 15 minutes. We appreciate that. Now we move on to reports, suggestions, and requests. And tonight we start with City Manager Joyce Shanahan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank the City Commission for their exemplary leadership with the OB Life Initiative. That was truly a showcase of collaboration in our community. You work closely with the residents. We didn't just do 1 or 2 meetings, we did 6 meetings and a wrap-up meeting. And additionally, we did an online platform that would allow further participation and maximize the resident participation. So I am grateful for that. It was useful in the strategic planning and again in the capital budgeting workshop tonight, and I'm very proud of the Commission's leadership on that initiative, and I'm especially proud of staff's leadership on that initiative. We had, 6 meetings. We had over, 15, 16 speakers. 99% of those were staff speakers. On top of their regular workload, they crafted this program to work with the residents to get their feedback. And in particular, I'd like to thank Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley for her leadership and Gabe Menendez for his help with that. So that being said, thank you for the opportunity to make those comments.
Joyce, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if we could, I'd like to take a minute now to make my comments on the OB Life, just so we're all, we have it compartmentalized, and then have the commission, we'll just go down the line and everybody can make their make their points. But really, staff did an amazing job with it. I'm very proud of this commission for supporting and implementing the concept. It was a team effort. No one person did it alone, and we couldn't have done it without staff's great leadership, which was amazing. We're really thrilled that our community rose to the occasion, and the OB Life gave us the building blocks to a truly successful 2019 strategic plan. And the whole initiative has changed the way that we communicate with our residents. The way that you reach out to an entire community today has changed, and it's evolved as to how it was 5 years or even 10 years ago. And by having in-person meetings and also online initiatives that are interactive, produced some great results that helped us set our priorities. This is just a synopsis of all those hundreds, if not thousands, of collective hours of our residents' input and our staff's work putting it all together. This is the voice of the people. And because of the initiative, people know that we're listening, and it was really refreshing to hear so many different perspectives about life in Ormond Beach. So thank you to staff. Thank you to our residents who are a huge part of this. We could not have done it with several hundred people not showing up for those collective meetings. And with that, I'll go to Commissioner Selby, and we'll just go right down the line, sticking to the OB Life for right this moment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I think my perspective on it is that one of the single largest challenges as an elected public official is to try to enact the will of the people, to try to know how we have over 40,000 residents, and to know what they really want, how they really want where they want their city to go, what they want their city to do. And so the OB Life program provided an opportunity for people to learn, but also to share and to give us guidance, as the mayor mentioned, for the strategic plan. And we are implementing some of those things, not everything, but a lot of those things. And so for that, I'm very grateful.
Deputy Mayor Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll be brief, but I'll just say you never go wrong when you listen to your residents. And the OB Life was a really great platform for our residents to give input on where they wanted our city to go. And I give our staff a ton of credit. It was a huge undertaking, and it was just really nice to receive the award that we did this evening from the Florida League of Cities. You know, it's impressive whenever they said they had over 100 applicants, and the individuals that decided upon Ormond Beach, you know, the gentleman tonight made it sound like, well, I'll just say it, there was no other competition. I mean, Ormond Beach, the OB Life, was heads and tails above the rest. And when you ask your residents for input and they give it to you, like I said when I first started speaking tonight about this, you never go wrong when you listen to your residents.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Commissioner Persis.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to attend all the OB Life meetings because I wasn't in office yet. And I, firsthand saw how hard staff worked and just what a fabulous job they did. So I just want to, again, commend staff for all their hard work. And it was wonderful hearing the residents and seeing friendships and seeing people talking and people meeting one another and sitting at the tables and really having really great discussions, whether they agreed about everything or not. But it was always a positive experience. So I'm not surprised that the city of Ormond Beach won this award, and the mayor, I'm so proud of you for receiving it. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. The OB Life initiative was great for the city of Ormond Beach. It provided elected officials and city staff, thus all public servants, a way for us to participate with our citizens in not just a reactive way, but proactively. This communication, followed by the presentations of department heads of our staff and associated experts in the field, was a great tool to disperse information directly to our citizens. Another added benefit was it put a human face to our city staff, and these are the people that make our city work every day. I highly encourage every municipality to invest in a small investment in an initiative like OB Life, and you can make a big impact.
Thank you, Commissioner Littleton. And Joyce, I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted to get all that in, and we're back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just a few quick comments because I know we have to go back to our other meeting. This is our last meeting for June, and you will not have another meeting until July 30th at 5:30 p.m. There will be an operating budget workshop if tonight wasn't enough fun for you. You give us, staff is appreciative of the time that we have to prepare that operating budget. And then after that, your next meeting will be August 7th. That is a Wednesday because August 6th is our National Night Out, and we always make that switch so we all can enjoy that. So, we do a weekly list of all projects and things we're working on, so that's available. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer those.
Thank you, Joyce. Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley.
Thank you. If I can just jump back to the OB Life, congratulations.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am that you received that award. And I know how important it was to you. I remember, Mayor, when you started talking about this vision to engage with our residents, and we were so focused on improving our communication and connecting with our residents, and I think you've met all of the objectives that you set out for. And an unintended benefit to all this was how staff was able to work together, and I learned more than I ever could have imagined, really, about topics that I didn't even know I could learn about. But it was just fantastic, and all of those subjects we talked about were so critical to the city, and all of staff was able to work together and learn together, and it was an invaluable experience for all of us, so thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney Randy Hayes.
No, sir, thank you.
And tonight we start with Commissioner Selby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I just have, I started thinking about all the things that you said that Leisure Services had done in the last week or 10 days, and I won't reiterate that, but just so you all know, in between everything else that happened on Memorial Day, we actually had a shade meeting, which that's like just a crazy name, but we do operate under the Sunshine Law, and we had a meeting on Memorial Day. We met from about 10:30 to almost noon, right? Yeah. So you have a very dedicated mayor and city commission up here. And I, by the way, was the last one to say, okay, I'll meet on the holiday, but I'll admit it. But anyway, my comments really tonight are going to be only about the thing that I am extremely passionate about right now, which is the septic to sewer project. At our workshop earlier, we reached consensus on that, and it was a unanimous consensus that we want to move forward with a area inside the city, the design and permitting of that, and then also on the North Peninsula. And right now we have a small group of very passionate, dedicated citizens who are working hard on this. The goal is to build a very broad-based coalition involving every club, organization, association that might want to weigh in on this, and then also to educate folks, because there's an awful lot of misinformation about how septic tanks operate and the nutrients, the nitrogen and phosphorus that ends up in the drinking water, in our aquifer, as well as in the river. So it's very exciting. The timing is right because the state is waking up and the governor is pushing it to put hundreds of millions of dollars towards water quality projects. So I'm excited to work hard on that, and I'm excited that I think Ormond Beach is really going to take a lead here, certainly in this region and maybe even statewide.
Thank you, Commissioner Selby. Deputy Mayor Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Commission, it's June. It's hot. And I just want you all to know I'll be in my summer dress for our commission meetings probably until Memorial Day was a very busy day in the city of Ormond Beach, and we had a great dedication after our Memorial Day ceremony for Ike Leary and the Ike Leary Fishing Pier. And there were two other events for that Friday afternoon or early evening and then Saturday morning, and that was the Fred Costello Amphitheater and the Rick Boehm softball field as well. And I sent Rick and Fred notes letting them know that I was out of town at my nephew's wedding, and I hated to miss both of their dedications, but they were both extremely deserving, and I knew that the commission would well represent. And just sorry I missed that and couldn't be there, but Commissioner Boehm wrote me back, as did former Mayor Costello, and Commissioner Boehm, his response was short and to the point, and he says, once again, you've put family first, which is the right decision, and we'll catch up later on. So thanks for understanding, Commissioner Boehm. June 15th is our next fishing tournament. It will be at the Neptune Beach Approach. It will start at 9 a.m. and we have one tournament in the Halifax River. We have one every year, and one tournament at Central Park. So we have Intracoastal Waterway, saltwater. We have freshwater lake here in Ormond Beach, and then we have one from the surf. And this is my favorite event because you truly don't know what you're going to catch. You sort of know in a lake what you're going to catch, and for the most part, you can get surprised out here as well. But in that ocean, if one of these kids hooks into a 80-pound tarpon, or if a big 40, 50-pound kingfish comes in, I mean, we're talking about some real excitement that could really happen. I mean, it happens from time to time. So anyway, June 15th, if you have a child and they're 12 years or younger, it's free if you're an Ormond Beach resident. It's just something that this city does, and they do it well. And if you don't have a child, come on out and have a hot dog down there and watch the catch and release. It's good stuff in Ormond Beach. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And Zone 3 Commissioner Susan Persis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank each commissioner tonight. I think I'm so pleased everyone's so passionate about the things they believe in, and I know that it's wonderful to work with people who really, truly care, and it's very evident in our meetings. So I just want to congratulate everyone and thank you all for your dedication. I want to also thank Dwight Selby for just leading this campaign on septic to sewer, because it's so important. He's very knowledgeable, and I think we're all headed into the right direction in that way. So I'm very, very thrilled with this. And as the last meeting, we talked about banning plastic straws, and I know Randy is working on an ordinance which, maybe take another month or so to get it written out properly. But that's another thing that it's just a small thing, but it's an important thing. It's not going to cost anybody a whole lot of money, but it is going to help our environment. And we do need to start somewhere, just like we need to start somewhere with septic to sewer. We need to start somewhere banning single-use plastics and styrofoam. So with that, I'll say goodnight.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. The naming of the Fred Costello Amphitheater, what a great way. No one else is more deserving to have his name etched in something that he had the vision to create down there. That way, citizens that presently live here, those in the future, will know what Dr. Fred Costello did for them in the past. Furthermore, I'm sorry to say I was unable to attend Commissioner Boehm's naming for the softball field. I had a prior engagement, but we're going to do you right over there for that field that bears his name. With that, I'll say goodnight.
Thank you, Commissioner Littleton. And the fishing tournament, Deputy Mayor Kent, I've seen kids pull sharks out of the ocean. Little ones, little sharks, grant you, but just to catch anything, the amount of excitement that it creates. I mean, the kid starts to dance right there on the beach. They're so happy to have caught something. So that is a great thing. It's, I think you've said before, good, wholesome family fun. And so for the city to support that and our leisure services to do such a great job with that, and Ike Leary chipping in with his help, it's all positive stuff. We had the opportunity over the last couple weeks to attend the Volusia League of Cities 2019 Distinguished Service Awards, and I was so pleased to see our own police department victim advocate, Evelyn Rabastini, awarded the Employee of the Year for public safety. And they wrote an entire page on her in the program, but suffice it to say, she does an amazing job for our police department. She's the only full-time victim advocate, and she ensures that services are provided to victims 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Evelyn was here tonight as part of the Chamber leadership class. She graduated with them, and she was part of that project. I think the chief said she is the glue that keeps the police department together. And she's professional, dedicated, diligent, and kind to everyone she meets, and always ready with a cheerful hello. She has a tremendous desire to help others, and her ability to recognize the good in everyone is why she was nominated and actually why she won. So well deserved. I was proud to be there to see her get that award. And Joyce, I know you and the chief were there as well. It was a great night for Ormond Beach, and I just wanted to mention Evelyn again and give her a little more recognition. The next thing I want to talk about is traffic safety. Speeding, certainly, but all other forms of traffic safety. And it's an issue I'm going to take to the elected official roundtable. Speeding in this city, to me, has gotten a little out of control. Particularly on Granada, I've seen people going 70 miles an hour. It's outrageous. Memorial Day afternoon, out by Lowe's, there was a woman, was she sight impaired, I believe, hit. She happened to be pregnant, but she was killed. And that may not have necessarily been completely speed related, but it was certainly a traffic safety issue. And so that's one death. I know we've had at least one other pedestrian death this year. I know Port Orange has had a couple of pedestrian deaths. A very well-respected sheriff's deputy lost his life in the last couple days to a traffic accident. And so as we get busier and as traffic continues to be an issue, that's a problem that I know Ormond Beach is addressing it. The chief and our city manager have come up with a plan, and I've asked them to continue to work on that within our city. If it takes overtime for traffic patrols or extra officers or whatever it takes. There was a crash this afternoon near Wilmette on Nova where a car flipped over, and as soon as I heard the car flipped over, it was obvious that speed was involved, and apparently that individual was racing another car in the middle of the day on Nova Road, where a lot of our children go back and forth, near our community center there. And so it's disturbing to me, and I'm concerned about it. And I just want to put out there that it's going to be a continuing topic of conversation over the summer months, and hopefully we can get countywide support on trying to come up with solutions to that. The last thing I'll leave with, and then we're going to get back to our CIP workshop in the training room. We'll take a break, maybe 5 minutes to gather back over there. But the solicitors in the city of Ormond Beach, this is an issue I've heard about from a number of people, and so I did a little research, and there are 4 individuals who have the appropriate credential from the police department to solicit in our city. And I know there are a lot more than that people that are in our neighborhoods soliciting people for services, whether it's tree cutting, whether it's roof repairs, whatever it is. I get something, it seems like once a week from these folks, and it's a problem that staff, I think, is trying to come up with solutions to that. It's a difficult problem to address, but I just wanted to put that out there. There are 4 individuals that are properly licensed in the entire city. They have to have a badged ID with their picture on it and the police chief's signature that shows they've been properly cleared and credentialed in order to go door to door and comply with our codes. That's it. So if they don't have that and they're in your neighborhood, you need to either call the non-emergency line, and the feedback I get on that is that you can't get through. And so then go to the website and get my phone number or ask me for my phone number and let me know, and I'll ask our city manager to get somebody out there to investigate it. If you don't catch them in the act, there's not much you can do about it. But I worry about folks who are home alone when these people come knocking on the doors, and I'm concerned about the safety of our community. And then just, follow the rules. If it's something you want to do, get the criminal background check, get the appropriate documentation. It's very reasonable to do it. And so that's all we're really asking, is that you follow our rules if you're going to do it. And with that, we will be adjourned in this meeting, and we will reconvene the workshop in just about 5 minutes in the training room. Thank you all very much.